Donald Trump is calling out his own Attorney General, Pam Bondi, for a lack of legal action by the DOJ in prosecuting his own perceived enemies. He posted just last hour, quote, "Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam, Shifty Schiff, Letitia, question mark, question mark, question mark? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility." Ellie and Torre are still here with us to try and make sense of that. So, Ellie, does Trump sound nervous to you?
I don't know that he's nervous as much as frustrated with his attorney general because she has not gone after these people he disfavors. I mean, this is, look, I sort of have become numb to a lot of things Trump posts on Truth Social. I just, whatever, move past. But this is a big deal. I mean, he's overtly, explicitly, publicly telling his attorney general, I want to see indictments of these three people. Now, we know from the reporting that this attorney general who was fired, according to Trump, or quit, whatever, Eric Siebert, a veteran prosecutor who had been nominated by Trump, looked at this case and concluded the evidence was not sufficient. Todd Blanche, according to the reporting, the deputy AG, who I've known for a long time, who represented Trump criminally, he said he didn't think there was enough evidence to charge Letitia James. And Trump's view here is sort of, who cares? Plow ahead. Let's get the indictment and worry about it later.
Yeah, highly frightening. As you said, two people looked at this and said, there is not enough evidence to charge her. And that's just two people at the top. I'm sure all the under people like...
And also, I hate to say it, but two kind of Trump loyalists, right? I mean, it's like, it's one thing if they were objective, but people who are appointed by Trump who are willing to say to the president, we've got nothing. We don't have a leg to stand on.
Had clearly already gotten the message. We want to arrest her. We want to see her bracelets. We want to put her on trial. And they can't find, we can't do it. There's no case against her. Still keep trying. That's dictatorship.
Well, whenever Trump has outbursts like this, especially someone who's a loyal ally, but who other MAGA allies like Laura Loomer have urged him to get rid of Pam Bondi because she's got some enemies, I can't help but to look at it as a distraction. And there's been so much.
This is a distraction?
Well, he's trying to distract.
From what?
From this.
From everything.
Wait, what is he?
No, pointing a finger at Pam is distracting from what he's trying to do to Letitia.
Yeah, because I think he's trying to distract from Epstein because Epstein was starting to get a little more steam.
Got it.
And he now is because Alex Acosta, his appointee, do you think that the story was starting to lose a bit of steam, Epstein, and he is still trying to compensate? That's my view.
I mean, it's all about a smokescreen for Epstein. But where I thought you were going, where we might go, is that when he starts attacking Pam, do MAGA people start to say, oh, we are also on the menu, so we can't just go with whatever he says, because eventually the scythe will come for you, too. So you have to stand up for your own principles.
It's an ultimatum of sorts to the attorney general, right? I mean, it doesn't take a lot to understand what he's saying here. I think everyone should understand that replacing the U.S. attorney in Eastern District of Virginia, or even maybe, I mean, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but hypothetically replacing Pam Bondi, none of that improves the evidence in your case. And the reason that Todd Blanche, who's he was by Trump's side, defended him at the criminal trial. The reason Todd Blanche is not on board with this is because he was a prosecutor right here in New York, and he knows you're going to have to go to a grand jury. You're going to have to, if you can somehow get past the grand jury, and we don't know the evidence really on Letitia James. I mean, we would just be speculating, but he knows enough to know. Then you're going to have to go to a judge. Then you're going to have to go to a jury. Then you're going to have to go to an appeal. And look, Todd was raised the same way I was, almost the same time at the SDNY, and you don't bring a case if you don't have the goods. So I think that's the reasonable conclusion. But changing up the personnel.
I was going to say, like, I don't want to even get into the details or the evidence or the merits of the case. The President of the United States is openly telling on a social media post that he wants his Attorney General to prosecute political opponents, Adam Schiff, Letitia James, and James Comey, who's not even in public service anymore, a private American citizen. I don't understand how this is not. I mean, this just happened, but it's alarming. It's vengeful. It's retribution.
Though there's no real evidence.
Correct.
Yeah, he says.
I think it is alarming to a lot of people, but one of the things that I think Trump is sort of good at is keeping people in his circle who, like, he gives a lot of power to, but who are also at risk themselves. They're very vulnerable. And Pam Bondi is not beloved by all of MAGA. That's been the case for quite a while now.
You see her at these cabinet meetings, and she looks, I mean, just her performance.
For Republicans, the current trajectory raises concern.
But that aside, they're cool with a lot of that. I mean, like, she has people under her, including, like, you know, Bongino and others who we know there's tension there. A lot of the right-wing podcasts, infrastructure, ecosystem, they do not like her. I mean, they call her all kinds of names if you listen to them, and have very little respect for her. And so I think he knows that, like, she's kind of hanging on to this thing.
Keeps her
in some people's view, a little bit by a threat.
And what has he asked her to do? Not on Truth Social, not in public, that she won't do?
Yeah.
That is the question.
There's got to be a fracture at some point. Yeah. One of them has got to say, this is too far. Like, my children will read about this. My grandchildren will know what I did. Like, I cannot just sacrifice my entire... Like, there's got to be somebody who has some conscience at some level.
You mean like Ted Cruz? Or
yeah.
Because he obviously, you know, he got humiliated during the election season. What happened to him? He fell in line. Lindsey Graham, what had happened to him? They all fall in line. That's the problem. They all fall in line.
Go ahead.
This will be a test for Pam Bondi because, again, going back to the last administration, there were instances where Trump had public outbursts. He wanted John Kerry indicted, for example. He wanted Obama indicted. But Bill Barr, again, you know, not to defend Bill Barr too much, but he just ignored it. It was like he just waited for the tantrum to sort of go away. But when Trump puts on Truth Social, we can't delay any longer. I mean, that's a...
President Donald Trump unleashed a public rebuke against his own Attorney General, Pam Bondi, via Truth Social late Sunday, demanding swift prosecutions of perceived political foes including former FBI Director James Comey, Representative Adam Schiff, and New York AG Letitia James. Pam, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time. All talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff? Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility, Trump wrote, framing the inaction as a betrayal. The outburst, described by observers as an overt ultimatum, highlights deepening frustrations within Trump's inner circle over the Justice Department's reluctance to pursue vendettas. Bondi, a staunch loyalist, faces mounting pressure from MAGA influencers like Laura Loomer, who have urged her ouster for perceived softness. Trump loyalists, including fired U.S. Attorney Eric Siebert and Deputy AG Todd Blanche, Trump's former criminal defense attorney, have privately concluded there is insufficient evidence to charge James, particularly over her civil fraud case against Trump Organization executives. Siebert, nominated by Trump, deemed the case unwinnable, while Blanche, a Southern District of New York prosecutor alum, echoed that assessment after reviewing materials. Analysts view Trump's post not as nervousness but raw frustration, a tactic to plow ahead regardless of evidentiary hurdles. He's overtly, explicitly, publicly telling his attorney general, "I want to see indictments," one expert noted, emphasizing the peril of bypassing prosecutorial standards. Even among Trump appointees willing to bend rules, the consensus is clear: no viable case exists against James. Indictments would require grand jury approval, judicial scrutiny, and jury trials, stages where weak evidence crumbles, as Blanche knows from his SDNY days. You don't bring a case if you don't have the goods, he reportedly advised internally. The timing suggests deflection. With renewed scrutiny on Jeffrey Epstein's lenient 2006 plea deal, overseen by Trump's first-term Labor Secretary Alex Acosta, the Post diverts attention from damaging revelations. Acosta, facing a closed-house oversight session, embodies Trump's vulnerability on elite enablers. It's all about a smokescreen for Epstein, one panelist surmised, as the story risked gaining traction. Trump's demand for bracelets on James, arrest cuffs, signals retribution unbound by facts, evoking dictatorship. That's dictatorship, another warned, noting even loyalists' resistance underscores the ethical abyss. Bondi's precarious position amplifies the drama. Unloved by swaths of MAGA for her cabinet performances, deferential to Trump like a dear leader, she hangs by a thread amid tensions with right-wing podcasters like Dan Bongino. Trump excels at empowering vulnerable allies, keeping them compliant through fear. He gives a lot of power to people who are also at risk themselves, an insider observed. Yet, whispers of fracture emerge. What has Bondi refused privately? Her tenure tests loyalty's limits, potentially sparking a MAGA awakening. Do MAGA people start to say, "Oh, we are also on the menu?" One asked, warning the purge could turn inward. Historical echoes abound. In Trump's first term, similar rants targeted John Kerry and Barack Obama for indictment, but AG William Barr ignored them, waiting out tantrums. Bondi may follow suit, but Trump's escalation, "We can't delay any longer," intensifies the stakes. Critics decry it as alarming vengeance. A president openly weaponizing the DOJ against a private citizen like Comey, a congressman like Schiff, and a state AG like James. The President of the United States is openly telling he wants his Attorney General to prosecute political opponents, one legal veteran lamented. Schiff, targeted for his impeachment role, and James, for her Trump fraud probe, symbolize the hit list. As MAGA cheers selective fury, demanding Kimmel's ouster but sparing allies like FBI Director Kash Patel amid Epstein scrutiny, the Post risks eroding Trump's reputation and credibility. With no evidence boost from personnel swaps, the impasse exposes a regime's core, retribution over rule of law. Insiders predict a breaking point, someone invoking conscience for posterity. My children will read about this. I cannot sacrifice my entire legacy, one pondered. Yet, precedents like Senators Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham falling in line suggest compliance prevails. Bondi's test looms: defy and fall, or enable and etch infamy. For now, Trump's roar echoes unchecked,